Welcome to the Wise and Happy Life podcast, where ancient wisdom meets modern science, and mindfulness, philosophy, and happiness practices blend with neuroscience, compassion, and common sense. Hosted by Bob Martin, meditation mentor, happiness coach, trial lawyer, and entrepreneur. This podcast explores how to live with grace, presence, and purpose in a complex world.
Okay, hello, good people, and welcome to another episode of A Wise and Happy Life. And as you all know, I always like to start off kind of setting a feeling for the theme of today's episode. And I want to mention that one time I read a statement by Deepak Chopra. And what he said was, as is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. And he pointed out that even atoms, they look like solar systems. So he was kind of talking about that. And when I think about today's guest, I think that this is an appropriate thing because, you know, if you think on a kind of Christian spiritual level, you hear about the Trinity, the three forms that God takes, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. One of them has to do with the body. That's the Son. One of them has to do with the mind, and that's the Holy Spirit. And then the other has to do with the Spirit, which is God. And even in our own, thinking, we have three parts of our existence that causes us and asks us to be whole, and that's our mind and our body and our spirit, or our emotions, that you might say. And today's guest is a strength trainer who has found that the qualities and the skills that he picked up in strength training and in teaching strength training really carry over and apply to life in general. So this is going to be an interesting conversation. I'm so looking forward to it. Rob Tracz is here with us today. And say hi to the folks and tell them a little bit about yourself, Rob.
Hey, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on today. And thank you for the introduction and the quote there, too. That was pretty cool to kind of think about and start the conversation off well. So I'm really excited to be here and I appreciate it. And yeah, exactly as you said, my background in strength and conditioning taught me a lot of different lessons. The whole idea of taking care of your body and training yourself physically really became the gateway to personal development for me, and has really been the foundation for a lot of different successes that I've had, whether it's championships with different sports teams and graduating or finishing grad school with a 4.0 GPA, and building my book of business up to the point where I was working like 17-hour days, and then transitioning out of strength and conditioning into high performance coaching, and now growing and developing my speaking career. And all of that really stemmed from the rules and the things that I learned from strength training itself. So,
well, I want to get into that because I want to talk about that. I mean, we're talking about things like showing up. On the most simple of levels. Like if you don't show up to the gym, you're not going to see any progress. And so it's the same thing in life. I think somebody once said 90% of life is just showing up. But we'll get into that in a minute. But I want to ask you, you have, when you transitioned, you faced a few obstacles in your life and they helped you to decide to take a different direction. Part of that was burnout, right?
yes, yeah. That when I had mentioned before, working 16, 17-hour days, I was essentially doing that 7 days a week. And I did that for about 3-ish years, almost 3.5 years straight. I'm talking holidays, birthday parties. I was working through weddings, didn't take a single day off for about 3.5 years. And in that time period, I thought I was being successful, making tons of money and just super busy with work. And I almost wore that like a badge of honor. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it to this event or to that event. I'm busy working. And from that, people stopped reaching out to me, right? So friends stopped inviting me to events. Parents, my mom even stopped calling me for the holidays and such because she knew I was busy working. And I became so isolated. I was around people all day long, but I was still so alone. And that constant grind day in and day out really took a toll on me physically, mentally, and emotionally as well. And in that time period, my dad got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And that,
Tough time.
yeah, it would, normally you would think that that would be a wake up call to like, hey, maybe slow down a little bit. And for me, it wasn't. I just continued working and buried myself in the schedule. And I regret not spending as much time as I could have in his few remaining moments, but I did try my best to be there as much as I could. And thankfully I was by his side when he ultimately passed away peacefully. But that's the only day I took off. I took that day off, and I took the next Saturday off for his funeral. And then I went right back to work. And about another year or so later, it finally dawned on me that this wasn't the life that I wanted to be building. And I knew that there was something more to what I wanted to teach and coach other than just squats and bench press. So that became the new stage for me to, okay, how do I evolve who I am without losing my identity as a strength and conditioning coach? How do I evolve my coaching into something newer and more? And how do I get away from this burnout?
I think, that's a really important inflection point that you're talking about there, because if I'm hearing you right, with the work that you were doing and then the tragedy comes along, it's almost as if you buried yourself in your work, and it was a way to avoid some of the uncomfortable feelings that you have to deal with when you have a loved one that's passing. But the inflection point that's really important is that, and I think that it's just important to realize that change, that wake-up call, that change of direction in your life didn't have to happen. Because how many folks are there that bury themselves in their work, then tragedy comes on, and all they do is bury themselves even more in their work, and that's where they stay, for the rest of their lives. But, thankfully, you said no, that there's another way. But I just think I wanted to stop and just reflect on the fact that what a wonderful thing that is, because it didn't, like I say, it didn't have to go that way.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm worried that I would still be in that situation if I didn't have that one opportunity. It was like a holiday weekend. I think it might have been Labor Day weekend, and a lot of my clients were away, and I was struggling to fill my schedule on the weekend. And not having something to do Saturday morning, I'm sitting in my apartment by myself Friday night, and I'm frantically trying to find if there's any clients around that want to work out on Saturday. And I failed to fill that schedule, and I failed to achieve that distraction of the full schedule. And because of that, it allowed me to sit back and think like, okay, well, what do normal people do on Friday nights? What did I used to do on Friday nights? And then in that period, it was like, okay, all right, well, no friends. Everyone's busy because I'm never available. Family is distant. And I just sat back and thinking, this might be the wrong path I'm going down. Maybe I need to change some things, and maybe I need to figure something else out. And that became the blossoming idea of prime performance coaching for what I do now. But it was the beginning of that journey because I was already at the peak. I was at the top of this mountain. I thought I was successful. I thought I had everything that I wanted to. But at the same time, once I looked in the actual mirror, I was like, well, this is not what I want. This is not who I want to be.
Well, so there's an image that somebody shared with me once, and it sounds like this is worth reviewing at the moment. So there's the high flying trapeze guy, right? And he's way up on a pole on the left side, and he's got the swing in his hands, and he's going to swing down, and at the very top of the arc in the middle, he's going to let go of that thing, and he's going to turn around and just have faith that other swing is going to be there for him to grab onto to swing him to the other side. But that letting go and having the faith, that takes some courage. Yes. I mean, how did you feel? Was it scary?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was scary. Is part of it was because I also didn't want to lose myself, because I had worked so hard to get to where I was, and I didn't want to start over. And I was afraid of what people were going to be saying, or how people would adjust, or how I would adjust. And there was a lot of uncertainty. And And it was tough, and it was like a beginning of this process of like, okay, is this really what I want to be doing, and what is it that I actually want to be doing, and it was trying to grow something, and yeah, I wasn't even sure if that other side of that handle was even going to be there. It was almost as
Be
if
there.
taking that
Yeah.
leap of just, all right, hopefully something's there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a leap of faith. So what do you think that it was in you or in your experiences that gave you that strength to make the decision to take that leap of faith?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of resilience and grit that I've learned from sports and from in the gym, and just that confidence I have in myself. Like, okay, I can make something work here. I don't know what it is. I don't know who's going to help me or how I'm going to approach it, but I know if I put in the effort and if I show up, I know something will work. Something will start to move, and that's all I really needed was just a little bit of momentum to get the ball started. And then I knew if once that started to roll a bit, then I could get behind it and really push it, and then lean into connecting with more people and finding other positive influences around me that'll continue to pull me forward, because I wasn't sure which direction to go. So I'm thinking left, right, down the middle. And from on that journey, I began connecting with a lot of plus ones, is what my friend Brandon always calls them, as positive influences. And I'm following my friend Brandon over here. Now I'm following my mentor Brett on this side, and then I'm getting connected with somebody else named Rory. And I'm like, man, everything starts moving, it's picking up speed, and things are just looking bright.
Hmm. So I want you to share with us now a little bit about the feeling of body strength, even if it's just a little bit. I mean, I go to the gym and I work out, and I'm 75 years old, and I I go in and I got a T-shirt and I got a big 75 in the middle of it, and it
Nice.
says 3/4 of a century, still showing up, still pushing iron. Now I'm pushing 40 pounds, and the 20 somethings are pushing 240 pounds, and but I'm still just showing up. Now I'm not the strongest guy in the world, but when I go and feel my bicep over here and I feel a little solid, it makes me just feel good. Now
Yeah.
you talk about looking good, feeling good, and doing great things, but tell me, do you find that feeling stronger really affects um, your confidence and your sense of who you are?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us look at, well, so you're muscular, and a lot, especially if you go to the trope, that idea of, like bodybuilding things and people that are showing off their muscles and or all that kind of thing, you kind of dismiss that as, well, that's not who I am. But just even a little bit of strength of body, share with us, what your insight
Mhm.
into how feeling strength in your body affects your confidence.
Yeah, I think it's like any kind of challenge, right? Going into the gym, whether you're weightlifting or running on the treadmill or hitting the rower or whatever you may be doing, you're challenging yourself, and you're setting out some sort of a goal or something that you're looking to do, whether it's lifting weights or whatever. And then you show up and you try that exercise, or you try it, you give it an attempt, and you either do well or you do okay or you do poorly or you don't do it at all. And through those choices that you make of showing up, whether you're pushing forward and growing, you're gaining the experience of getting better. You're taking those steps down the road. And the more that you show up, the more that you do it, you're going to gain the insight and the awareness of, okay, today was a good day, or today was a hard day, today was a bad day, or today I need to recover and spend some downtime. But you begin to get the understanding of what it's like each day, and you can compare it to yourself on other days. And then down the road, once you get enough of those experiences under your belt, you begin to look back and reflect on, wow, now I'm moving 40 pounds where when I first started, I was moving like 20 pounds. And that, I think, is such a valuable lesson, because I've gone through it myself numerous times, different seasons for different sports, different training programs, where I've grown stronger, and then there's other times where I've grown a little bit weaker, and then I need to get a little more consistent and serious about it and building back that strength. And because of my background with strength and conditioning, I've seen a lot of individuals across different industries of sports and different professions all going through the same thing. So I think for me, it's that understanding that it is a process. It does take that time. And once you do start to get the ball rolling and you do get that strength coming through, it continues to motivate you and inspire you to grow and push to the next level. And I think going back to your questions before about what it was like kind of taking that leap, I think having that experience of all the different people I've worked with and myself and seeing strength training, I knew that it was going to take time. I knew that there's going to be uncomfortable days where I'm sore from pushing myself. And some days I might not hit the best reps for the things that I'm doing. But I know, keeping back in my mind, that it's just practice. It's just reps. Every day that I go, I'm getting a little bit better and a little bit better. For example, this past weekend, I taught this public speaking workshop, and I'm sharing with a lot of the guys. They're gearing up for their 5-minute keynote at the end of the day. And I'm telling them guys, this is the beginning. These are reps. Go out there, have fun with it. Don't put so much pressure on it to be perfect, but go out and have fun with it and learn from it. And it's going to take time for you to get that $10,000 speaking engagement. But today is day one. It's just like first day in the gym. It's like your first time picking up a dumbbell. It's like your first time putting on your gym shoes. Get used to it. Have a way to have fun with it, and just keep looking forward and understanding that it's a process.
Now, folks can hear that, my experience, I teach meditation, and the way that I teach meditation, I have this really cool digital infrastructure that I get reflection every day from my students. They practice, they write a reflection, comes to my dashboard. I get to read it every single day and then give them back feedback every day. Imagine if, in strength training, imagine if you had that opportunity to give little tweaks every day, what kind of progress could be made. But what I want to say is that I keep telling folks, this is a process. It's going to take time. You're going to think you're doing it all wrong. It's going to be uncomfortable. And it usually takes, 2 or 3 weeks of daily tweaking before they will say, oh, now I see what you're talking about. And for a lot of folks, we can say the things that we say, but, how do you, it's really, isn't it really, it's the repetition that you have to have enough exposure to the thinking, and you have to hear it a few times before you're really willing to take a chance on it. Yes?
Oh, yeah. And I think knowing and understanding that there's more than one way to achieve success or achieve the goals or achieve the strength. There's more than one ways of training. And I think a lot of individuals get caught up on how to do it the best way. And people kind of chase after different strategies or methodologies or whatnot. But I think once you get enough of the practice in, you get some of the experience, you're listening to your friends, or you hire a coach and you're using their perspective and how to go through it the best way. I think when an individual begins to adapt it themselves and create their own practice or their own way of practicing, I think that's where leaps and bounds begin to happen. And I think that is where you begin to see a lot of the changes too, because at first, right when you first started out, you said it's discomfort, like a lot of discomfort with meditation or exercising or speaking in front of a crowd. It's scary. It's kind of hurts because you're like, I don't know. But eventually it begins to flip, and then you enjoy it. You have a little bit of fun. For example, I just picked up golf. Now I'm golfing, and my girlfriend hates it because I'm golfing like all the time now. But I'm learning. It's awkward. My swing is off, but I get it back on track. And thankfully, I've got a bunch of friends who are golf pros and have their PGA cards. So they teach me, they show me, but I still have to put the reps in. I still have to do the swings. I can watch my friend doing it, but until I put the reps in myself, I'm not going to get any better.
And that is so key. It's so key. I mean, it's like you can go and sign up for a gym membership and have the trainer take you around and explain all the machines to you, but understanding how they work and getting on them is just two different things.
Yeah. And then ultimately, you can hire a trainer, you can hire a coach that'll show you the best way that they think you should be training. And you follow it for a little while, and then you realize, oh, I kind of like to do it this way, or I kind of like to try that one. And you piece those together, and then you have a routine that helps you continue to get better that works perfectly for you.
So now let's relate this to the same kind of training we talked about: showing up, doing rep. Oh, you mentioned discomfort. Let me just take a pause there and talk about that. Um, in meditation, one of the things that we mention is that life has a lot of pain in it, and your dad's passing. You can cut your arm, you can break your knee, you can break your heart. You can. There's so many things that bring us pain and discomfort, and that's not going to stop, and we don't have a lot of control over it. So what we try to teach is what we want to develop is a tolerance for discomfort. So, take two different people. One gets a little scratch on their arm, and it's, wow, I have this scratch. Oh, and it just destroys them for 2 hours. Somebody else gets the same scratch and they go, oh, well, I just got to put a Band-Aid on it. And they go on. The pain is the same. It's the ability to tolerate the discomfort that allows you to have the resilience. And that's something the gym teaches you as well, yes?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because there are going to be days where you got to push yourself a little bit harder. There's going to be days where you are going to not show up and have as much energy or feeling a little under the weather. But the important thing is getting in there and reflecting on the workouts and the different things that you're doing and keeping that log. Like, you give great feedback to a lot of your clients on a daily basis on what they're reflecting on. But you could do the same thing in the gym too. Like, okay, yeah, that was a tough workout. Like, oh, that was tough. Oh, that weight was a little too heavy. Maybe I should make it a little bit lighter. Or you know what, that was pretty easy. Let me try to crank it up a little bit next
Mm-hmm.
round. And I think the more you do it, the more that you develop the tolerance, and then it allows you to move forward. But you also have that awareness of, okay, yeah, I can handle this or I can handle that. And that's why I think keeping some sort of a track record or a log of what you're doing in the gym or in business or in life, even something to kind of like journaling, some sort of practice to kind of look back and reflect on. So then you can continue to move forward and know, okay, yeah, I can handle this, or maybe no, maybe that's a little bit pushing it. But having that history allows you to kind of determine, yeah, I can push a little bit
Mm-hmm.
harder.
Yeah, no, I remember my dad once, one of his favorite little things that he said was, uh, most people love the business and they don't like the business of the business. But if you take care of the business of your business, then your business will take care of you. And what he meant by that, it's in the back room where you're looking at the stats and you're looking at the consequences and the results and the numbers and the history, like you just mentioned. When you're looking at actually the numbers of how you're doing and comparing that, you can make wiser choices about what works and what doesn't work. And that's true in the gym and it's true in business. And is that what you find?
Oh yeah.
That those same skills, they wash over into your everyday living?
Oh yeah, definitely. I work with a lot of individuals who they've just made that leap of, okay, I have this side hustle, this project. Now I want to start making some money with it. And they're looking to generate some momentum behind the new projects. And it can be scary to look at the numbers and have those conversations with yourself or whoever you need to look at the history and such. And the same thing in the gym. Like, you have to make sure that you're pushing yourself, you're building it, getting yourself comfortable with that discomfort. If you just go into the gym doing the same exact thing every single day and you don't ever push or lighten up, you're just going to stay the same, right? You're never
Mm-hmm.
going to continue to grow. You're never going to expand or evolve into the next stage of yourself, either physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, however.
Yeah, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. So emotions, how do they tie into this? Because emotions can be the thing that really creates a lot of obstacles for people. They're so driven by the emotions, like an emotion of fear. What if it doesn't work? Or what if I lose this? Or, what if this and that, those, and or the wanting something so bad that you can't, that, so, so the emotions, I don't know where I'm going with this, but how do emotions tie into this?
Yeah, well, so starting off in the gym, it can be scary. So you're afraid to go in. There's so much uncertainty. What if I do something wrong? What if I look silly? What if I hurt myself? Where do I go? Am I in the right
Wait,
position?
stop with that look silly thing, because I think that comparing yourself to others or the way you look or wanting to look good, that's a big driver for folks. Yes?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And,
because
and
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No, you go.
Oh yeah, so like just the idea that somebody, not even necessarily comparing to somebody else, but like maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe I'm out of place, or I'm in the wrong spot, and somebody will see it and say something, and we're afraid of that, like somebody either talking to us or telling us that we're doing something wrong or incorrectly, and that can deter a lot of people too. I saw it all the time, and when I was strength training, it just didn't make any sense to me because I was around it so often. Like, oh, going in, it's comfortable, nobody's going to make fun of you, et cetera, et cetera. But that's because I was there every single day. And then for like recently going to the golf course, the driving range to hit golf balls, I'm like, oh, I don't know where I'm going. Like, what do I do? Like, are people going to make fun of me or something? Blah, blah, blah. But it's in our head, and it's that experience. Once you get over it and you get a little more comfortable with it, is where you are allowed to kind of soothe yourself back into it and then show up, continue to show up. But it's that
Hmm.
discomfort in the beginning where it's kind of hard to do that. And I think the best and easiest way to bypass that, whether it's in the gym or business or et cetera, is either having a coach or having a friend that you can do it with, because then it's like a shared experience and you can kind of lean on each other.
Yeah, yeah. That whole thing about somebody saying something or saying you're doing it wrong, it really conjures up, our parents telling, or our teachers telling us we did something wrong. And I think that we have to learn to say to ourselves, well, wait a minute, wait, I'm not that 5 year old anymore. That's just a 5 year old voice going off in my head telling me this. And that's not just, I'm past that, but
Yeah.
it's easier said than done.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's something still that's difficult for a lot of people. And I think we put a lot of emphasis on getting good grades and being as perfect as we can. When as if we can shift the perspective a little bit more to learning and gaining or value in ourselves from the effort of putting in and practicing, I think that would help us a lot more. Like for example, with me, with the golfing, I know I'm like, okay, well, I need to get more swings in. If I want to keep getting better, I got to go. I got to hit more golf balls, and I got to just kind of focus on what I need to be doing.
Yeah. And, there's no getting around it. There's no magic wand.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come along and touch you on the head with their, magic dust, and all of a sudden you're going to be an expert golfer. Yesterday, this young friend of ours came over and he was all upset. Things were going bad. He just got his second speeding ticket. He's here on a parole asylum program from Nicaragua. And so he's done very well. He's been here a year and a half. He has a good job, and he has a car, stuff he never would have had there. But still, he sees all these negative things that are going on in his life as just woe is me. And of course, I speak Spanish, so we were speaking Spanish. My wife doesn't. So as he was going on with his litany of horrible things that were happening to him, she said and looked over to me and she kind of whispered, well, what are you going to say to him? And I said to her, I'm going to kick him in the ass. Because he needed to be reminded about all the good stuff that was going on and put it into some perspective. But sometimes, all that stuff can start to drag us down, and we have to step back from it and just say, well, I woke up this morning and I opened my eyes and I had eyes that would open.
Yeah. Yeah, I
you
love
know,
that. Yeah.
you know,
Well, that goes back to the tracking, right? Just like in the gym, to making sure that we're getting better and moving forward and staying on track
hmm
with what we're trying to do. I'm a huge fan of gratitude journaling because it's a form of, okay, grounding ourselves. Like, let's remember
hmm
what we do have good, because it is pretty easy for us to kind of fall into that, like, oh, this thing went wrong, or I didn't say that correctly, or I didn't get that job offer, or et cetera, et cetera. And I think if you don't have some sort of system to reground yourself and bring you back into that positive light, people can get trapped.
Yes, no, absolutely. And, I just want to share with you, brain science now is proving that they actually can take a picture of the electrical activity in your prefrontal cortex. And if there's more electrical activity on the left side, on the right side, I'm sorry, which is your fight flight response, your stress response, if there's more electrical activity over there, they can predict that you're going to be negative and critical and down oriented. And the only way to balance it out is to make room for more positive things. Like you were saying, you start looking for positive things. And, in meditation, I say we need to make room for beauty and awe in our lives and go see a sunset. And, if you can't get to the gym and you can't work out, then geez, go out at sunrise and just watch the sun come up. You'll feel a little bit better about yourself. And then that'll make the space that gives you the opportunity and that confidence and that sense of self-efficacy, that sense that maybe I can do this. And then you go, you lift your first 2 pounder
Yeah. Yeah,
and
there you
take off
go.
from there.
And then, yeah, and then
Yeah.
you write that down, and then you go in the next day and you go for 3, and you just keep
Yeah.
that momentum rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a podcast, and you have a website, and you have a free phone call to really talk to people one on one to allow them to squeeze some wisdom out of you,
Yeah.
right? And get some perspective on where they're going and get some ideas about where they could go. Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. My
So,
podcast is called "Surviving the Side Hustle," and it's a great project that I've been working on for the past 2 years, and I think we're around 115 episodes. And it's
mhm.
great because every week I interview a new individual on a different stage of their entrepreneurial journey. A lot of individuals just starting out with their side hustles, and I've got CEOs scaling to multiple locations across the country, and everything in between. And it's really cool because we dive into their story, their struggles, and their secrets to performing at a high level. And it allows everybody to kind of relate and learn a little bit as well. And so that's a really fun project that I've got going on. And yeah, I send out everybody over to survivingthesidehustle.com/free call for anybody who's ever interested in going over a momentum meeting, kind of figuring out new projects, how to get the ball rolling, and how to keep it rolling too for future ventures and projects as well.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity and a great service that you offer. And I really suggest that, if you're in that place where you need to get going or you want to keep going, go. It'll be in the show notes. The link will be in the show notes for sure. So go talk to Rob and let him give you some insights, give you the benefit of his experiences, and they're substantial. And not just in weight, right?
Right.
Right. Well, thanks a lot, Rob. I appreciate your coming on, taking the time to talk to the folks, and I think that's been real helpful. So, if you wanted to sum it up and suggest, a couple of sentences, what would you say?
I think the most important thing to do is to try to reflect more consciously throughout your lives.
Hmm.
With every kind of adventure and project you've got going on, whether it is the gym or it's a new business project or relationships or whatever you've got going on, I think it's important to just remember to reflect more consciously on things.
Intention. It's about
Yes, exactly.
creating intention and then reflecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah. Like the old you're into speaking the old motto. You tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them, right?
Yeah,
And so decide what you want to do it, and then reflect on it.
exactly. Perfect.
Okay. Thanks again. And everybody go check out Rob. And we'll see you next time on A Wise and Happy Life podcast.